I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place the mission first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined. Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I'm an expert and I'm a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am Army Strong.
There's strong, and there's Army Strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
Alright, this is Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? What a day. Okay, I did not get a chance to do my special episode I was going to do last night. I do have a few things I want to talk about. I'm sure you're all well aware of the shooting that took place in Fort Lauderdale. Well, I've got a few things I want to bring to your attention on this. And I'm not going to steal all the thunder for all my other show hosts. But I do have a couple things I want to make sure you hear. Okay, first of all, this got me. Governor Scott rushed to the location of the shooting to be there to make sure all the resources that were needed were provided. And then some reporter asked him, well, do you think the security needed to take care of you is going to be detrimental to your being here? Take a listen to this.
And does the need to provide security for you detract from the need to provide security for the greater situation here?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. The crazy reporter. Okay, first of all, the governor has his own security detail. Second of all, in this case, because he's a governor, not a president, that security detail would be made up of state police and maybe state Bureau of Investigation agents and things like that. It's not going to be TSA. It's not going to be local police. Give me a break. I mean, this is getting absurd. Now, I've got a couple other things I want to bring to your attention. First of all, please, when you are tagging someone on social media because you think that person is the person mentioned in an incident, be careful. Someone who is not, repeat, someone who is not the shooter, who happens to have the name Esteban Santiago, his Twitter account was blown up today. People. Please don't jump to conclusions. The same name doesn't mean a thing. Okay? All right. Now, I've got some Nexus results on the shooter. He had Anchorage's addresses, multiple of them. He doesn't have a party affiliation. On his voter registration. His last vote date, last time he voted was November 4th, 2014, and he registered October 1st, 2014. So I'm going to say he registered so he could vote in that election. I'm not going to give out the man's email address. But it's just, he had some traffic citations, 26. Now, what got me was a photo that his family said, yes, that's him. He's wearing a kifah, which is a Middle Eastern scarf, and he is pointing one finger up in the air in this photo. Now, you're going to ask me, so what? Well, I've got your so what right here for you. Okay? Ready? Because I sure am. The one finger salute. And no, it's not the middle finger. Get your mind out of the gutter, will you? The salute has become common among Daesh propaganda from the battlefield in the final moments before a shaheed, which is their term for martyr, embarks on an attack. What's it mean? It refers to the first half of the Shahada, the affirmation of Muslim faith that is recited before every prayer. And the one was actually a recognized gesture by Muslims long before Daesh. And it signified the Tawhid, the belief in the oneness of God. The Shahada is the definitive Muslim doctrine. It's it's equivalent to the Trinity for Christians, but it's been taken over by Daesh. Okay? Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi even used it during his first speech at Friday prayers after the takeover of Mosul. Yes, there are images online showing him doing so. All right. A little bit more you may not have heard about the shooter yet. Yes, he was Army National Guard. And so far as I can find, there were 5 people who lost their lives. He is a, quote, combat veteran. But let me get into this. He was what they call a combat engineer. Do you know what they do? They build bridges. They help build schools, roads, things like that. All right, so he received a general discharge under honorable conditions in August. Are you ready for the other shoe to drop? Because there's more. He received a general discharge under honorable conditions in August 2016. Was it in 2016? Hang on. Doesn't say when, but I'm going to guess it was 2016. For continuous and willful absence from his duties with the Alaska National Guard. Upon his discharge, his rank was reduced from specialist to private first class, or as I have termed him, with the help of a couple of my military members to keep it family friendly, private foul-up. Insert your favorite F word there. Santiago allegedly retrieved a weapon he had legally checked in baggage and opened fire at the terminal in Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood International Airport. Now, one of the things I have heard repeatedly is he retrieved his firearm, went to the restroom, which is presumably where he loaded the weapon. And that's when he came out and started opening fire. And I also have to say, Fort Lauderdale Police, TSA, you guys did an outstanding job responding to this incident, as you usually do. They were juggling a lot of other things plus this, and they made it all happen. I got some audio off Broadcastify. I think I've got the right timestamp. Hang on.
Statement over here, just one shooter possibly detained at this time with multiple victims. They're still trying to find out further at this time. 3 Delta 5.
3 Delta 7.
Maybe that was Debbie. Can you find that this was an active shooter?
Subject in custody. We have multiple people down. We need rescue code 3. And also I need some 2 units on the outside of lower level 2 to block it off.
For you, additional units to respond, channel 2, lower level to block it off.
As you can hear by the radio traffic, the police are calm, they're collected, and they ran towards the fire. There's other audio clips that show it more dramatically than that, but I'm going to leave those because I gave those to one of my co-hosts called Robinson and Wright. Again, the audio is provided by Broadcastify because they have an online scanner service, and of course KLRNRadio has an account to go get the news. Come on, what good would we be if we didn't? All right, moving right along. We are going to take our commercial break a little early, and it's going to be shorter than usual. Now, you want to know why? And I'm going to tell you. We are doing it because I have a list of people that have been cleared to be transferred from the Guantanamo Bay detention facility run by the United States Armed Military. And I want to read some of their bios. Yes, I want to read some of their bios. Because I think what's in these bios is horrifying. And I want you to hear who has been cleared for release. Now, not all of these people have been released yet, but we know that President Barack Obama said he was going to try and release. He wants to empty Gitmo and close it. I'm sorry, Mr. President. That is a bad move. There are people that never need to breathe air, same air as you and I. They need to be behind bars for the rest of their lives. And that is just fact. That is just fact. There are people that do not need to walk among us. All right, we're going to take that brief commercial break. When I come back, we will be exploring the Gitmo detainees' backgrounds. So let's get to that commercial break. And like I said, this one's going to be shorter than usual. Because, quite frankly, I got too much to cover. I got way too much to cover. To begin to even consider doing a full commercial break today. Alright. Just as a reminder, you can always follow me on Twitter at Jessie's POV.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
You can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can let it be totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Care what they say if you wanna.
Alright, and I am back. Now, before I get started, I do have one official announcement I wanted to read. A hotline for information for family and friends has been set up by the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. That number is 954-831-4000. That is a secondary hotline number. The first one, the original hotline number that was sent out, is 1-866-435-9355. And that is for family and friends of people who are at the Fort Lauderdale International Airport today. Please. For more information, please see their website and their Twitter account. Okay? They will have a press briefing any moment now. So, please Tune in to the official sources. Social media is good. Official sources are the best. Alright. Here's my show prep. Doesn't sound like much, but trust me, what's in these pages is explosive. No, my paper's not going to blow up. How could you even think I'd have exploding paper? It also won't self-destruct in 30 seconds, okay? 22 detainees are being prepared for transfer out of the camp known as Gitmo before January 20th. Although the White House has not specified which inmates will be transferred out or which foreign countries have agreed to accept them, it is indicated that this will be a priority for President Obama in his final days in office. All right. Some of the people that have been approved for transfer have vowed to martyr themselves if released, or martyr themselves while being detained in Guantanamo Bay. Mohammed Bawazir agreed to be a voluntary suicide operative in a suicide attack inside Gitmo that was planned with the aid of 2 other detainees. All right, let's go down the list. Ramiz bin al-Shib, 44. He was once Muhammad Atta's roommate. Originally supposed to be one of the 9/11 pilots. But the Yemeni was turned down for a visa. Instead, he became a coordinator. He even gave Atta the date for the atrocities. He was one of the FBI's most wanted until his capture in 2002. He has charges pending by the military commission that were brought in 2008. I believe he's already been released. Mustafa al-Hawasi, Al-Qaeda's accountant. The Saudi was captured with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Just as a reminder, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was the Al-Qaeda mastermind and he is the one who orchestrated. He was the mastermind behind 9/11. Yes. He helped mastermind. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed came up with the original 9/11 attack. All right. Let's continue. Muhammad al-Qahtani, approximately 38, was also supposed to be a hijacker. He was stopped at Orlando International when he contradicted himself to immigration screeners who thought he was trying to become an illegal immigrant. He headed to Afghanistan where he was captured in the Battle of Tora Bora. Mohammed Atta was waiting outside to pick him up when he was released. Ammar al-Bushi. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's nephew helped his uncle fund and coordinate the tickets and accommodations for the 9/11 hijackers, and was a courier between the mastermind and other Al-Qaeda higher-ups. Muhammad Ghulam Rabbani, approximately 47. Ghulam Rabbani was Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's personal driver and worked as a travel facilitator for Al-Qaeda, as well as providing logistical support for bin Laden's command center in Tora Bora. Walid bin Atash comes from a family of radicals deported en masse from Yemen to Saudi when he was a child. He is said to have coordinated the 1997 embassy bombings in Nairobi, Kenya, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and he masterminded the USS Cole attack in Aden, Yemen in 2000. Now, just as a reminder, the USS Cole attack in Yemen took the life of 17 sailors. He was also involved in an attack on London's Heathrow Airport, which resulted in it being guarded by tanks. Ramiz bin al-Shib, once Muhammad Atta's room... Oh, we already covered him. Sorry. Muhammad Ghanim, approximately 42, veteran Yemeni extremist who'd fought in Bosnia in the 1990s, had been jailed in Saudi Arabia for a plot to smuggle missiles. He told interrogators he knew about attacks that were bigger than 9/11. Muaz al-Alawi, another Yemeni who was a frontline fighter for the Taliban. He picked up his first AK-47 reportedly around the age of 8, and he ran a guest house in Kandahar for al-Qaeda fanatics. In other words, he gave them a safe haven. Zohair al-Shurabi, Yemeni, he guarded the al-Qaeda mastermind, another guard to the al-Qaeda mastermind. He helped run the Kandahar guest house. And he's said to have threatened and assaulted guards and was assessed as too dangerous to be freed. But he has been cleared to go. Waji Wali Muhammad, 50, al-Qaeda's financial manager. He was an Afghan refugee in Pakistan who became rich as a currency dealer, then turned to drug trafficking to make more cash. He sent money to fund a string of bin Laden's plans, including attacks in 1998 on the American embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. Ali Hamza al-Balul, bin Laden's PR director and speechwriter, who even set up a satellite receiver so the terror chief could listen to the coverage of 9/11. He was convicted in Guantanamo. He was found guilty of a series of charges by a jury of 9 military officers, with one of the charges upheld on appeal, criminal conspiracy. Abdul al-Sharqawi, part of Osama bin Laden's inner circle, he would go to the terror chief's weekly strategy meetings and accompany him on hikes in the Afghan mountains. Yemeni commanded men and money for the terror chief. Mustafa al-Shamiri, initially said to be a member of one of the Yemeni cells responsible for the USS Cole attack in 2000. The detainee is a veteran jihadist who participated in hostilities in the 1994 Yemeni civil war and the Bosnian Jihad in the 1990s. Salim Ahmed Hadi, sub-commander in bin Laden's 55th Arab Brigade, which was bin Laden's hand-picked fighting force. He was held in prison in Mazar-e-Sharif, where he and others took part in an uprising in late November in which CIA special operative Johnny Mike Spann was killed, the first American killed in Afghanistan. Abd al-Rahim al-Nashiri, senior al-Qaeda operational commander or coordinator who worked directly under bin Laden, linked up to a dozen plots to attack the U.S. and Western interests, including the USS Cole bombing in Yemen. He has been charged with war crimes by the military tribunal. Abu Zabada, Palestinian, approximately 45 years of age. Senior Al-Qaeda member involved in numerous terror attacks, including the USS Cole bombing and a plan to attack the U.S. power grids. He ran a major training camp. Doesn't say where the training camp was. Abdul Latif Nasir, an associate of Osama bin Laden since 1993, the Moroccan was his top explosive expert in Afghanistan and an instructor at Al-Qaeda's training camps. He commanded bin Laden's troops on the front line at Tora Bora. As one of the masterminds behind 9/11, commanded the troops as bin Laden fled on horseback to safety. Abdus Salam al-Hela, a Yemeni money man who moved cash and forged documents for Al-Qaeda. He had been involved since the 1990s. Officials believe he had prior knowledge of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, the U.S. Hull attack in Aden in 2000, and possibly even 9/11 itself. Harun Gul al-Afghani. Afghani helped bin Laden flee Tora Bora in 2001, went on a long career causing havoc in Afghanistan. He was a courier for al-Libi, helping move weapons and fighters to the U.S. to attack the U.S. and allied countries. He is also thought to be a maker of the IEDs used to kill Americans in Afghanistan. And here's Abu Faraj al-Libi, operational chief of Al-Qaeda. He joined in 1990, making him one of its earliest members. He managed its operations after Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's capture in 2002. He communicated with others about plot after plot and was the main conduit for communications to bin Laden as the Al-Qaeda leader hid. Abd al-Haji al-Iraqi, the most senior commissioned military officer in Guantanamo. He was in Saddam Hussein's army in the Iraq War as an NCO, eventually became a major. At some point he went to Afghanistan, probably when the Soviet Union was occupying it. He stayed and became one of bin Laden's top deputies after the Taliban's defeat in 2001. He commanded insurgent attacks on Americans. Bin Laden put him in charge of Al-Qaeda activities in Iraq, making him one of the world's most wanted men. Al-Iraqi is a nom de guerre, which is, basically a pen name, which simply means the Iraqi. His real name is disputed. Ridwan Ismuddin, a.k.a. Hambali. Once called the Osama bin Laden of Southeast Asia, the Indonesian wanted to create a Muslim caliphate across much of it, with himself as the caliph. He oversaw the Bali nightclub bombing, which killed 202 people, the worst attack of his Jamaah Islamiyah terror group. His group was also behind a wave of church bombings in Indonesia in 2000, and he met two of the 9/11 hijackers in Al-Qaeda summit in Malaysia that year. He was captured in Thailand with arms and explosives after years on the run. Muin Abdal Sattar, Dubai-born fanatic of Burmese Rohingya descent, was brought up largely in Saudi Arabia, has Pakistani citizenship. He has threatened to dismember guards. He has led a series of mass disturbances at Guantanamo, making speeches to tell the prisoners to fight against the infidels and to kill all Americans, men, women, and children. Tawfiq al-Binhani, Yemeni who was trained in making IEDs and in urban warfare at an Al-Qaeda camp, was captured when he opened fire on Afghan forces at Kandahar airport. He threatened to kill the President of the United States and American citizens if he is ever released. Jabran al-Qatani, Approximately 40 Saudi-born electrical engineer helped build IEDs to attack American forces in Afghanistan. He has vowed that he would go back to killing Americans if he was released. He has threatened to assassinate the Afghan president and the king of Saudi Arabia because, quote-unquote, they are Americans. Khalid Qasim, sub-commander in Tora Bora, who also threatened to dismember United States service members when he got out of Guantanamo, and informed another that if he ever saw him after his release, he would murder him. And I'm not going to read the rest of the sentence. Let's just say it's a little more gruesome than I want to go into. Mohammed Bawazir. Here's the special snowflake among them. And you thought we're the only ones with special snowflakes. 35 or 36, Yemeni fought with bin Laden's Arab forces in Afghanistan as well as with the Taliban itself. He refused to get on a plane early last year to be transferred to another country because he did not want to go somewhere where he had no relatives or support system. He has been released already to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ravil Mingazov left Russia in 2000 feeling persecuted because he was an ethnic Tatar, a Muslim minority. He fell out with one terror group in Uzbekistan who thought he was a KGB spy, while he thought they were not committed enough to jihad. He moved to Afghanistan and trained in poison and sniper tactics for assassinations. He was captured in Faisalabad, Pakistan, at an Al-Qaeda safe house. He's still wanted in Russia. Abdul Zahir, Afghan, 44 or 45. He was a translator for an Arab-speaking Al-Qaeda boss. He and two other men were captured in 2002 after chasing down a car with American passengers and throwing live grenades inside the vehicle. These are not nice people. Also cleared to go, Soufiane Barhoumi. Algerian-born Barhoumi was recruited to jihad when he lived in London in the 1990s by Abu Qatada, a Jordanian clerk who was one of Al-Qaeda's most notorious preachers of hate. He was a senior explosives expert and trainer. He was at Abu Zahari's side when he was captured at a safe house in Faisalabad, Pakistan, where they were hatching more terror plots. No, we're not done yet, folks. Bostan Karim, 46 or 47, he was in charge of Al-Qaeda's IED factory. In Afghanistan, which was designed to target U.S. forces. He received orders from al-Libi, bin Laden's chosen commander. He was captured with a satellite phone as he tried to cross into Pakistan. Ahmed Mohammed Al-Darbi was an instructor at the Al-Farouk Camp, an advanced instruction center for Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan before 9/11. The Saudi Arabian taught its operatives how to use the Kalashnikov rifle and anti-aircraft weapons. Ismail al-Bukush, Libyan-born. He was a jihadi in his own country before swearing loyalty to Osama bin Laden. Before 9/11, he taught bomb making at Al-Qaeda's advanced training camp. He was captured in Pakistan after fleeing Afghanistan along with a series of other suspects. These are some of the men and women that President Barack Obama wants to turn loose on the people of the world. I'm sorry. That, in my mind, turning these men loose should be considered a crime against humanity. And yes, I know Barack Obama is the current sitting president of the United States. However, why would you even consider turning loose men and women who have said they will continue to wreak havoc on Americans and others? Why would you do that? I am looking to see if there's been any updates on the shooting or any news reports. Any updates? Apologize my delay in chatting, but I'm just trying to check the news updates because there was a press conference scheduled and a number of other things. All right. I'm not seeing any new updates. They did put out a special hotline. The Broward County Sheriff's Office did put out a special media hotline. I will call them when I clear the air with you so that I can see what the latest. By the way, Santiago's friends and family confirmed that Santiago had mental health issues. Santiago's brother Brian, who lives in Puerto Rico, told reporters that Santiago served in the National Guard in Puerto Rico for 6 years. Now, he deployed to Iraq for a year. But wait a minute. He deployed in 2010, 2011. He deployed when they were packing up to come home. He didn't deploy during things like Fallujah. Okay? Okay. Let's get that straight. So I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, well, he deployed, he must have PTSD. That's not the case. I'm sorry. That is not the case. Just because you deploy does not mean that you yet a case of post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm checking on one more thing. Because I'd seen something flash across my phone. It's about Daesh and the battle in Mosul and some of the higher-ups. Alright, I got a minute, I might as well read it, but then I've got to get off the air. If I want to get the latest on this shooting incident in Fort Lauderdale, I gotta go. Much as I love talking to you, I also gotta help the other hosts. Iraqi security forces launched a surprise attack against Daesh's militants in Mosul's Muthanna district after crossing the Kosar River overnight. Brigadier General Shukar Nuami, commander of Iraqi's 73rd Brigade, said the surprise raid began at 3 a.m. on Friday. The counterterrorism forces have begun early today in the morning to raid the Al-Muthanna district northeast of Mosul with the support of coalition Iraqi fighter jets. The Iraqi Counterterrorism Service said its heroes crossed the Kosar River, a tributary of the larger Tigris River that divides Mosul from west to east. ICTF troops were able to raise the Iraqi flag above several buildings in the Muthanna district, but it's unclear how much of the area is completely under Iraqi control. Iraqi security forces are making excellent strides in liberating neighborhoods in eastern Mosul from Daesh. And yes, Colonel John Dorian, spokesman for Operation Inherent Resolve, did give a statement earlier today, but the shooting and the prisoner release from Gitmo did take precedent. I can get you his remarks for another show. Alright, folks. On that note, just as a reminder, you can always find me on Twitter at Jessie's POV. And on that note,